but actually he is associated with a person who is having cows. So that is why Chaya Rati Abhasa. Chaya refers to the shadow. It seems that he has a real Rati, but this Chaya. And one is Pratibimba. But even if this Pratibimba is there, reflection is there, seems to be having a Bhava stage. But then uh, such people, they also get some benefit. It's not that he's not benefited, he's also benefited. To some extent, he also gets some angas of bhakti. Hari Priya Kriya Kala Desha Patradi Sangama Api Anusangikha Esha Kvachit Agnyeshwapi Kshayate. Now, what is Chaya Rati Abhasa? Rati means Bhav. Chaya Bhava Abhasa. Now, such Chaya appears even to ignorant people, as has been spoken here, by a combination of performing actions dear to the Lord, observing the festivals of Lord, residing in Dham, associating with the devotees. So, even such Chaya Rati Abhasa brings auspiciousness. Kintu bhagyam vina नाशौ भावच्छायापि उदंचति यत् अभ्युदयतः क्षेमं तत्र स्यात् उत्तरोत्तरम्. So in this way he gets a fortune. He is not having the qualification. He is an ignorant person. But because he is performing such actions which is very dear to Lord, like observing the festivals, going to Dham, so such a bhava, which is this bhava? It is asthai bhava. It is not sthai bhava. Asthai bhava. And it is like chaya. Chaya means what? Shadow. Now, shadow is not a person, but shadow is not false also. Person is true, so shadow is true. So, shadow is not a person. In the same way, this rati abhas rati, this chaya rati abhas is not true. At the same time, it cannot be rejected also. It cannot be rejected because it brings some fortune. That is what is given here. Chaya rati abhas 51. Okay, read. Pushpa, read. 50, 51.
Hare Krishna. Hari Priya Kriya Kala Deshapatra Sangama Api Anusangikat Esha Kvachit Ajneshva Apekshyate Kintu Bhagyam Vina Nasau Bhavachayapi Udanchati Yat Abhyudayat Kshemam Tatra Syad Uttarottaram. This Chaya Rati Abhas appears sometimes even in ignorant people by a combination of performing actions dear to the Lord, observing the festivals of the Lord, residing in the Dham of the Lord, and associating with the devotees of the Lord. Even this Chaya Rati Abhasa, which eventually bestows auspiciousness to those people, appears only with great good fortune. Such shadow attachment or para attachment can develop if one associates with a pure devotee or visits holy places like Vrindavan or Mathura, and if an ordinary man develops such attachment for Krishna and fortunately performs devotional activities in the association of pure devotees, he can also rise to the platform of pure devotional service. The conclusion is that transcendental attachment is so powerful that if such attachment is seen, manifested even in some common man, by the association of a pure devotee, it can bring one to the perfectional stage. But such attachment for Krishna cannot be invoked in a person without his being sufficiently blessed by the association of pure devotees. Should I read the next also?
No, no. Wait. Next. Next is 152, 153. Hari Priya जनस्यैव प्रसादभरलाभतः भावाभासोऽपि अपि सहसा भावत्वम् उपगच्छति तस्मिन् एवापराधेन भावाभासो अपि अनुत्तमः क्रमेण क्षयम् आप्नोति खस्थः पूर्ण शशि यथा. Now what is happening? This chaya rati abhas appeared because he is associating with a pure devotee. Somehow he is also getting some chaya, some shadow. But now, if mercy is there of the devotee, the same chaya can become real bhav. He will develop into real bhav. But then if he offends that devotee, even the best bhava abhasa gradually wanes, such as full moon in the sky gradually wanes. So if the attachment can be invoked, such attachment is invoked by the association. Now if offenses are created, then if offenses are done, then the same chaya now goes. Even the chaya also goes. Chaya can become real by more service, by more mercy. But even the chaya which was there because of some mercy, that also goes away. The offensive attitude is there. Okay. Aruna, read.
Hare Krishna. हरिप्रिय जनसेव प्रसाद भरलाभतः भाव भावाभासोऽपि सहसा भावतम् उपगच्छति तस्मिन् एवा पराधेन भावाभासोऽप्यनुत्तमः क्रमेण कश्यम् आप्नोति खास्तः पूर्णा साक्षी यतः translation by the great mercy of a dear devotee of the Lord, the semblance of bhava suddenly becomes real bhava. By offending that devotee, even the best bhava bhasa gradually wanes, just as the full moon in the sky gradually wanes. As attachment can be invoked by the association of pure devotees, so attachment can also be extinguished by offenses committed at the lotus feet of the pure devotees. To be more clear, by the association of pure devotees, attachment for Krishna can be aroused. But if one commits offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee, one's shadow attachment or para attachment can be extinguished. This extinguishing is like the waning of the full moon, which gradually decreases and at the last it becomes dark. One should therefore be very careful while associating with pure devotees to guard against committing an offense at their lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
So one have to be very careful while associating with pure devotees to guard against committing an offense at the lotus feet. So 54th verse. Kimcha bhavopi abhavam आयाति कृष्ण प्रेष्ठापराधतः आभासतां च क्षणकैर्न्यून जातीयतामपि. By an offense against the dearest devotee of the Lord, even real bhava will be destroyed. Abhasa what? Leave aside abhasa, even the real bhava will be destroyed. And if the offense is grave, real abhasa will go, real bhava will go. If the offense is medium, real bhava will turn to bhava abhasa. If the offense is slight, bhava will become an inferior type. It will not become bhava abhasa, but inferior type. Bhava is there, but inferior type. So it depends upon how grave, how medium, how slight is the offensive attitude of a person who has real bhava. If it is grave, gone. The real bhava becomes abhava. what is given, even the real bhava will be destroyed, not will be completely destroyed only, not even come to the stage of bhava bhas. If the offense is medium, it becomes bhava bhas. Offense is slight, inferior type. So offensive attitude towards the dearest devotee to Krishna himself, Krishna preshta aparadataha, even real bhava goes away. So all these things has been described. Okay, read. Wait, I'll read the 55th verse, so 2 paragraphs from read. Aditya can read. Gadha sangat sadayati mumukshau supratisthite abhasatam asau kimva bhajaniyesha bhavatam. By intimate association with a person who strongly desires impersonal liberation, real bhava becomes bhava bhasa. That's why we should be very careful with whom we are associating. Association should be with the devotees, but if the association is along with the people who have desire for impersonal liberation, that means he doesn't have faith in the personal form of Krishna. So what happens? Real bhava becomes bhava bhasa. So he starts worshipping the self as the Lord. I told you once, it's NASA scientist. He was worshipping himself. He started worshipping himself. I know, why are you worshipping yourself? He said, I become God. I told, okay, do one thing. You remove Lord's photo, put your photo. You're so upset. Putting our photo means what? Gone, na? I told, anyhow, you become God. Na? What is it? Why you want Krishna then? Give Krishna to us, you hang your photo and put Chandana. He's very, very upset. Because I am very frank, na? That is the problem. I'm very frank. Real bhava becomes bhava bhas. And that is how he starts worshipping himself only as God. Because he's associating with whom? People who desire impersonal liberation. Impersonal liberation, that means what? Mukti, but which type of mukti? Where a person doesn't understand the form of Lord. Okay. 54, 55, read.
120.54 किं च भावोऽप्य अभावम् आयाति कृष्णप्रेष्ठापराधतः आभासतां सनकैर्न्यूना जातीयतामपि. Translation: Moreover, it should be stated, by an offense against the dearest devotee of the Lord, even real bhav will be destroyed if the offense is grave. If the offense is medium, the bhav will turn to bhavabhas. If the offense is slight, the bhav will become an inferior type. 1.3.55 Gadha sangat sada yati mumuksha supratisthite abhasatam aso kimva bhajaniyesha bhavatam. By intimate association with a person who strongly desires impersonal liberation, real bhav becomes bhavabhas, or becomes worship of the self as the Lord. Transcendental attachment, either shadow or para, can be nullified by different degrees of offenses at the lotus feet of pure devotees. If the offense is very serious, then one's attachment becomes almost nil, and if the offense is not very serious, one's attachment can become second class or third class. If someone becomes attached to the principles of salvation or to merging into the existence of the Brahma Jyoti, his ecstasies gradually diminish into shadow and para attachment, or else transform into the principle of ahangrahopasana. This ahangrahopasana describes a living entity when he begins spiritual realization by identifying himself with the Supreme Lord. This state of self-realization is technically known as monism. The monist thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord. Thus, because he does not differentiate between himself and the Supreme Lord, it is his view that by worshipping himself, he is worshipping the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Okay, next. 56 and 57. They are there in the next paragraph. 56. Ata eva kvachit teshu नव्य भक्तेषु दृश्यते क्षणं नीश्वरो भावोऽयं नित्यादौ mukti pakshagah. It is seen sometimes that new devotees, absorbed in the goals of different types of liberation, identify themselves with the Lord momentarily during dancing or other acts of devotion. This is all actually I experienced with that person. He used to dance like anything. And then started identifying himself only as Lord. First, I used to not understand these verses, very difficult verses. But afterwards, I understood. When the person does like this and he's not engrossed in the really worship of the Lord, he considers himself only as God. Sadhane kshanam vina yasmin akasmad bhava ikshate vigna staghitam atrohyam prak bhaviyam vishadhanam. So bhava sometimes appears suddenly in a person without performance of sadhana or mercy, without scriptural knowledge. It should be inferred that in the previous life some obstacle interrupted that person's skillful sadhana. And in this life, the obstacle has been removed. So this is referring to the case of Vritasura. He is born in a demonic family. We are doing now Chitraketu. At that time, Vritasura Katha was, we did in a small, in a summary. So Vritasura born in a demonic family, but he was a devotee. How is it that born in a demon family, but he is still a devotee? He was killed by Indra. Even Indra appreciated. Now see, why such bhava appeared? It is not that he studied Shastras or some mercy is there or he did some sadhana, nothing. That means in the previous life he has done. Some obstacle came, now that obstacle also went up. Such bhavas can come to even a person, suddenly it can come. Okay. So 56, 57. Read Aditya, you only read.
अत एव त्वचित्तेषु नव्यभक्तेषु दृश्यते क्षणम् ईश्वरभावोऽयं दत्यादौ मुक्तिपक्षगः. Translation: It is seen sometimes that new devotees, absorbed in the goals of different types of liberation, identify themselves with the Lord momentarily during dancing or other acts of devotion. 1.3.57 साधनेक्षां विना यस्मिन् अकस्माद्भाव इक्ष्यते विघ्नस्थितम् अत्रोयं रागभावीयं सुसाधनम्. Bhava sometimes appears suddenly in a person without performance of sadhana or mercy and without scriptural knowledge. It should be inferred that in a previous life, some obstacle interrupted that person's skillful sadhana, and in this life, the obstacle has finally been removed.
Okay.
Sometimes it is found that a neophyte is taking part in chanting and dancing very enthusiastically, but within himself he is under the impression that he has become one with the Supreme Whole. This conception of monism is completely different from pure transcendental devotional service. If, however, it is seen that a person has developed a high standard of devotion without having one, even the regulative principles, it is to be understood that his status of devotional service was achieved in a former life. For some reason or another, it had been temporarily stopped, most probably by an offense committed at the lotus feet of a devotee. Now, with a good second chance, it has again begun to develop. The conclusion is that steady progress in devotional service can be attained only in the association of pure devotees. Hare Krishna.
Now 58, 59, next paragraph. लोकत्तर चमत्कार कारकः सर्वशक्तिदः यः प्रथियान् भवेद् भावः स तु कृष्णः प्रसादजः. The bhava is which is more amazing than anything in this world. That bhava, which is more amazing than anything in this world, which gives all powers and which is very deep, is caused by the mercy of Lord. So in sixth verse we saw three causes of mercy, three causes of bhava. One is sadhana, one is mercy of the Lord, one is mercy of the devotee. Now, bhava which has come because of the previous life has just been mentioned. Now, which is the best in all these things? Which of these best is the best? Hinting at the examples such as Putana, the author says, bhava caused by the mercy of the Lord is the best. You know, fourth type of bhava is also included. Suddenly it came without any qualification also. But that is only because in the previous life he has done. Because of the mercy of devotee, mercy of Lord, and mercy and sadhu. Among all these four, which is the best? It is mercy of Lord. Because mercy of Lord cannot be removed. Mercy of devotees also cannot be removed, but if you compare, yes, mercy of Lord is the best. Okay. Now 59 plus. Jane chet jata bhavepi vaigunyam iva drishyate. Karya tathapi na shuya कृतार्थः sarvathaiva saha. So if some apparent fault is seen in a person who has real bhava, one should not be hostile to him because he has accomplished the goal in all respects. Some apparent fault is seen. So seeing fault itself is wrong. It is seen. So immediately one should not become hostile. One should not be hostile means one should not develop any hatred. So that is given. Because he has accomplished the goal. But what about the person who is seeing with hostility, with all type of enviousness? Okay, read 58, 59.
1.3.58 लोकोत्तर चमत्कार कारक सर्वशक्तिदः यः प्रथीयान् भवेद् भाव स तु कृष्ण प्रसादजः. Translation: that power which is amazing than anything in this world, which gives all powers and which is very deep, is caused by the mercy of Krishna. 1.3.59 Jane Chejat Bhave Pi Vaikunyam Iva Drishyate Karyat Apina Suya Kritartha Sarvathevasaha. Translation: if some apparent fault is seen in a person who has developed real power, one should not be hostile to him because he has accomplished the goal in all respects. If one can gradually advance his status in devotional service, this is understood to be due to the causeless mercy of Krishna himself. If a person is completely detached from material enjoyment and has developed pure ecstatic devotion, even if he is sometimes accidentally found not living up to the standard of devotional service, one should not be envious of him. It is confirmed also in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who has unflinching faith in and devotion to the Lord, even if sometimes found to be accidentally deviated from pure devotional characteristics, should still be counted among the pure. Unflinching faith in devotional service in Lord Krishna and in the spiritual master makes one highly elevated in the activities of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
1.3.60 Yatha Narasimha. Narasimha Purana, what it speaks. Bhagavati Chaharavananya Cheta Vrishamaliноpi Virajate Manushya Nahi Shashakalusha Chavi Kadachin Timira Parabhavata Paiti Chandraha. So, person who is dedicated completely to the Lord may show externally serious contamination. Internally, he is pure. Like it's like the full moon marked by the figure of a rabbit. It is never overcome by the darkness. So it has the one. This It is known as summer cold. Because summer also you get cold. So Narsimha Purana speaks. One who is dedicated completely, he may show some type of serious contamination. But internally he is very pure. So externally it may seem he may be performing forbidden activities. Internally he has so much of bhakti. It is very difficult to understand a person in bhava. If he is in bhava, he has all the 9 lakshanas. That is the lakshanas which is seen. But sometimes there may be some faulty things seen in him. But as a sadhaka, we don't have the right to see. Simple. And even 61 is included in that. Ratir Anishaha Nisargoshna Prabalarananda Purarupaiva Ushmanam Api Vamanti Sudhamshu Koterapi Swahi. Rati is natural and external and eternally unstable. Because of its continuous, ever-increasing desires for pleasing the Lord. It is full of bliss, manifesting this instability in the form of a variety of sanchari bhava. It is tastier than millions of moods. It's very nicely it has been spoken here. The rati, how it is natural. The bhava towards Krishna is natural. You love Krishna. Now, when you say, I love Krishna, it is in what state? This bhava comes only after when we do good sadhana or mercy of devotee, or because of the previous life impressions, or because of mercy of Krishna. But then 9 lakshanas are seen. Now, bhava, why it is unstable by nature? It goes on increasing. That is why unstable by nature. Okay, read 60, 61. Pushpa, read 60, 61 and complete the last verse.
Hare Krishna. Yatha Narasimhe Bhagavati Chaharav Ananya Cheta Brisa Malinopi Virajate Manushya Nahi Sasa Kalusa Chavi Kadachit Timira Parabhavatam Upaiti Chandraha. In the Narasimha Puran, it is stated, if a person has completely engaged his mind, body, and activities in the service of the Supreme Godhead, but externally he is found to be engaged in some abominable activities, these abominable activities will surely be very quickly vanquished by the influence of his staunch devotional force. The example is given that on the full moon there are some spots which may appear to be pockmarks. Still, the illumination spread by the full moon cannot be checked. Similarly, a little fault in the midst of volumes of devotional service is not at all to be counted as a fault. Attachment for Krishna is transcendental bliss. Amid unlimited volumes of transcendental bliss, a spot of some material defect cannot act in any way. Hare Krishna.
19th chapter. Devotional service and pure love of God. Now it is now the 1.4.1 is the 4th wave. Now this is speaking about Prema Bhakti. So Bhava Bhakti itself is difficult to understand. Now Prema Bhakti. Samyan Mashrunita Swanto Mamattvati Shayan Kitahan Bhavasa Eva Sangratman Budhai Premani Kathyate. So when the bhava becomes extremely condensed, it becomes prema. It softens the heart completely. How to understand this person is in bhava? He's not rough in his dealings. He's very, very soft. Because he loves Krishna so much, he loves everyone. It softens the heart completely and produces extreme possessiveness of the Lord in the experiencer. For him, it is only Lord. How best I can hear, how more I can hear about Lord. That is the only goal he has. That is how his heart becomes softer and softer. So the bhava has been explained. Now this bhava is explained to prema. So the heart, that is swantaha, it has become samyan mashrataha. That means it has become very soft. This prema is a condensed form of bliss, what is experiencing. And because of that, he has extreme possessiveness of Lord. So in this way, prema has been described. In the same first paragraph, you have second verse also. Yatha pancharatre, ananya mamata Vishnu, ananya mamata, mamata prema sangata, bhaktir iti uchyate bhishma, prahlado narde. Yes, ananya bhava for Lord. And he doesn't have for anyone. He only has for Lord and his devotees. Simple. Prema is defined by Bhishma, Prahlada, Uddhava, Narada, that bhava which has possessiveness related to Vishnu or any other form of Vishnu and to no one else. That possessiveness is only for Lord. That has been explained. Aditya, read 1, 2 and come to the paragraph. We'll try to do only till 3 and 4 today. Then Wednesday we'll try to complete the portion.
Okay. 1.4.1 Samyan mashrunita swanto mamatvatishayan yankitaha bhavasa eva chandratma buddhe prema nigadyate. When bhava becomes extremely condensed, it is called prema by the learned. It softens the heart completely and produces extreme possessiveness of the Lord in the experiences. 1.4.2 यथा पंचरात्रे अनन्य ममता विष्णु ममता प्रेम संगता भक्ति इत्य उच्यते भीष्म प्रह्लादोद्धव नारदयः. In the Pancharatra, it is said, Prema is defined by Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhava, and Narad as that bhava which has possessiveness related to Vishnu or any other form of the Lord and to no one else. When one's desire to love Krishna in one's particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as pure love of God. In the beginning, a devotee is engaged in the regulative principles of devotional service by the order of his spiritual master. When one thereby becomes completely purified of all material contamination, there develops an attachment and taste for devotional service. This taste and attachment, when gradually intensified in the course of time, becomes love. The word love can actually be applied only in relationship with personality of Godhead. In the material world, love is not applicable at all. What goes on under the name of love in the material world is nothing but lust. There is a gulf of difference between love and lust, like the difference between gold and iron. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is clearly stated that when lust is completely transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the concept of kinship is completely replaced in Him, which is accepted as pure love of God by great authorities like Bhishma, Prahlad, Uddhav, and Narad. Hare Krishna.
1.4.3 Bhakti Premochate Bhishma Mukhyair Yatra Tu Sangata Mamatanya Mamatven Varji Te Tetra Yojana. So analysis is done about the grammar of the above verse. Bhava is called prema by Bhishma and others, where there is possessiveness, mamata, related to sangata, to Vishnu. And where possessiveness of other things are absent, ananya mamata is not there. Not having that possessiveness towards anyone, only towards Lord. This much possessiveness a person has. And that is known as the strong possessiveness. That is known as prema. Okay. Fourth verse. भावोत्थोक्ति प्रसादोत्तः श्री हरेर iti sadvidha. So now prema arises because of two things. Either from bhava you go to prema or because of mercy of the Lord. 3 and 4 has been described. Okay. So read Aditya, continue.
1.4.3 Bhakti premochte bhishma mukhyayatra tu sangata mamatanya mamatvena varachititya atra yojana. The analysis of the grammar of the above verse is as follows. Bhava is called prema by Bhishma and others, where there is possessiveness, mamta, related to sangata to Vishnu, and where possessiveness of other things, ananya mamta, is absent. 1.4.4 Bhavatoti prasaduddha Sriharir iti sadvidha. This prema for the Lord has two types, that arising from bhav and that arising from mercy. Great authorities like Bhishma have explained that love of Godhead means completely giving up all so-called love for any other person. According to Bhishma, love means reposing one's affection completely upon one person, withdrawing all affinities for any other person. This pure love can be transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead under two conditions, out of ecstasy and out of the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself.
What is the ecstasy means? Bhava. Does prema comes out of bhava or because of the mercy of Lord? Stop here. So Wednesday will try to complete the portion. Okay? Then your study will be there. In June we can have examination. Giving sufficient time for your study. June will be exam. On Chakal Putarudrasya, Pitas and Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnu Vishnu की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय